There's no wait. Oh, so hey everyone. Welcome to Inbox Branding with the amazing John Benson. Hey, John.
Hey, if I now I'm seeing your name backwards, so you're telling me that's not going to show up, right? I'm seeing.
No, my name will be backwards. Yeah, you're fine. So first, John asked me to tell you guys, this is the pixelating thing. This is a YouTube. YouTube is down. There are issues, but we are live here still.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. So don't worry about it. I'll be looking a little pixelated. John will look his awesome self.
It's my YouTube thing completely crashed yesterday, and I was thinking, what on earth is going on here? But apparently, it's all over the world. So. If you guys are having any issues with seeing your thoughts video, it's going to look good on recording, I hope. But I'm not, for whatever reason, mine's working. So I don't know. We're here. That's the most important thing. We're here with day one of Inbox Branding. It's going to be crazy. But before we start, Yafat's going to go into how to play this game, because this game is a lot of fun to play, and we want to make sure that you play to win, because there is stuff to win here. So that is pretty groovy. So.
Okay, so let's do that. So I will share my screen, and all of you wonderful people should be on this page right now, watching us right here. Let's see if you're watching us. Yes, you're watching us. So right here next to your video, you have a worksheet. We're actually John has tons of content, really awesome content to give you. So click on that, and it will open a fillable worksheet for you. You can just basically type in the answers here. Now, if you want to see us at the same time that you're filling out the worksheet, just put those windows side by side, and you can do that. Now, to win, you can see right here, you will have your unique link. Every time someone clicks this link, you guys getting 100 points. Every time you're sharing on social media, very simple, by clicking, right? It's already filled for you. You're getting 15 points. And that's all the game. And if you want to see the stats, simply log down here, right here on the bottom. And you can see our top players. We already have top players, John, with like 80,000 points. How crazy is that?
Oh, wow. Wow. It's 80,000. Jeez, man. Yeah, we were going to set the upper limit. It's like, if anyone gets to 100,000 points, we'll fly you to Japan. But no, I'm kidding. We were going to do that. Now we're going to have to change that, because somebody has to go in there and be completely Tom Brady on us, man. That's awesome. Way to rack up the points. Yeah.
And the way that they're doing that, guys, is they're basically just sharing. They're sharing the link. So every time someone joins because of your link, this link that you have right here on the top, you get about 300 points. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you can see exactly who's engaging. So John Herdman, thank you so much, man. You're engaging. You're getting points. You are number 2 right now. So keep up the awesome, awesome work. And if you guys want to see more of the stats of what's happening, just click on win right here after we're done, right? And you can see exactly what you're getting. For watching a video today, you're going to join us. For social shares, you can win that. Every comment that you share, you're getting points. And we don't only want to give you a big prize, as we're going to share that. Where am I? Oh, I'm here in live. Right here. So we're not only going to give you points for sharing and engaging, but we're also going to give you every day, we're going to give you something really awesome that you can win as you join us. And today, you can win modality marketing. So what is modality marketing, John?
Modality marketing is a little booklet that I wrote a few years ago that's still very much viable today. And it talks about the various modalities that tap into different parts of the subconscious and conscious mind. So you need to talk in these modalities whenever you're writing email copy, whenever you're writing sales copy, whenever you're doing anything that you're presenting a brand. You need to understand the modalities of how your prospect thinks through things. So no one thinks through things on one level. In other words, no one's all emotion, no one's all logic, there's different modalities, and you need to speak to those modalities. And this booklet tells you exactly how to do that. So that's a very cool gift. You definitely want to grab it if you can.
So if you want to win this, all you have to do is, when we're going to go live after we're done with the training, because there's awesome training, you guys are here to learn how to build your inbox branding. You're going to refresh the page, click this, and you're going to join us in the Hangout to speak with John directly, just like I am doing right now. So is there anything else we kind of forgot to tell them about?
Well, I mean, other than just to tell you, like, why are you here? And this is why existential questions. Why are we here? Why are you here? I really want to know, hear from you guys. Tell us why you're here. Now, obviously, we're talking about inbox branding, which is a term that you may or may not be familiar with. It's a term I've been kind of coined over the past year or so. And basically what this means is, how do you appear emotionally and logically to your customer inside their inbox? And not to throw cold water on an event that just got started, but the bottom line is your inbox brand is literally your lifeblood over the next few years. If you think email marketing is going away because some new gadget is going to come out, guess again. I'm going to tell you some stuff that's going to blow your mind. It's really stunning how email marketing has stuck around and will continue to stick around as an adjunct to a lot of things that people are coming out with, like text-based marketing. You've got instant messaging marketing right now. Those are all still collecting leads. You still need to build an inbox, right? You need to build your own mailing list, obviously. And then your mail, whenever you send out an email, you have a brand. You don't know it, perhaps, and I'm not talking about a logo. I'm not talking about, you know, a tagline. I'm talking about an emotional and logical response that your customer or prospect has. And I don't need to tell you this, maybe. In case I do, I'm going to tell you anyway. You're going against about 150 messages a day minimum. So if you are in a business where you sell flowers, do you think that your prospect is only on one list of people who buy flowers? Probably not. You're on my list, and I will guarantee you that most of you, 99% of you, are on other email marketer, other digital marketer, other copywriters, whatever you're following me, other internet marketers lists. How do I stand out? How do I come across and get your attention to have you click something without resorting to tricks? Now, tricks work once or twice, and they're okay to use here and there without resorting to, you know, subject line tricks and things like that. The brand needs to be established. Once you do that, I promise you, you will stand out for the rest of your duration with that customer, which is what you want. You don't want to just stand out enough to get a click. You need to build a relationship. So that's what inbox branding is about. That's why you're here, at least in my mind, but I'd love to hear why you are here in your mind to make sure that we're going to meet your needs here. And then we're going to dive into the training, and we're going to cover some new terms you've never heard before. We're going to cover exactly how inbox branding is structured, the 2 things that you need to do to make sure it happens. And then we're going to have you go through a couple of exercises. It's going to be a lot of training today.
So we're already getting some comments. Someone says, I want to learn how to increase my CTRs, click-through rate and conversion rate. So cool. That's a biggie.
Yep. That's a lot of persuasion trigger stuff. That's what we're going to get into when we start talking about persuasion triggers, which is coming in on, I think, day 3, if I'm not mistaken. But also click-through rates. I'm going to dive in and answer a few questions before we get into the training, because your feedback is extremely important during this whole process. The reason we're doing this for 10 days isn't because I love to be on camera so much. I'm just a freaking camera hog, right? It's because I really want to get to know you guys. I really want to hear what's concerning you, what we can do to help you. If I have a product or service, which I believe that I do, that can help you, then great. It's a great fit for both of us. If not, at least I can hear and maybe suggest a place that you can go. So that's really where we're at here. And it's a good way to get to know somebody. And I'm in my home here in where I live part-time in Vancouver, Canada. That's I'm up here in Canada, eh? It's a beautiful day out here. So and you know, I'm sipping my unique little bodybuilding drink that we make out of lemons, limes, and mineral water. So you're gonna get to see all the insides and outs. You know what I'm saying? But I want to hear from you. Hear what your most pressing concern is. See if your pressing concern fits with what we're talking about. And if it isn't, see if we can answer your questions anyway. So that is my goal. To answer yours, I want to get to the CTR, because that's important. Click-through rate is one of those things that a lot of marketers look at. That is a metric that is important. Don't get me wrong, but it is not as important as you think. And Daniel Levis goes into this. He's a great email marketer. Some of his emails get extremely poor click-through rates. They even get extremely poor open rates. But what they do is they get incredible sales. And the reason why is because his brand that he's building through these emails is so compelling, and so it makes an attachment in your mind that it just gets more sales. So yes, if you have a great landing page, it's even better to get more clicks. Usually that is true. And that can be, we could change that through persuasion triggers used in how you do your link structure and all that kind of stuff, which we will talk about. But bear in mind that you really want qualified clicks. Like if your click-through rate is 3% and you get 5 sales, who cares, right? So let's look at all the metrics together. Cool.
That's perfect. I love it. And which is so interesting because I love you just broke one myth, right? Like all the articles and all the information that's out there is like click through and open rate, click through and open rate. And you totally, I mean, just nailed it. So there's another user, the Musica, says wanting to stop being considered a commodity.
I'd like to hear you explain that more. So maybe you can come on later when we start getting our question and answer session to explain what you mean by not being a commodity. I don't follow that one. So maybe enlighten us. I like where this could be going, but I don't want to assume. So if you want to be more specific, awesome. If you want to come on, that's even better. So.
Yeah, so let's dive in. Yeah. Let's get started with training because we have a lot.
We do. We do. Are you guys ready? I want to hear everyone's
ready.
Yeah,
I think they're ready. Awesome. Comment below and say if you're ready. And then as John is getting used to sharing his screen, let me show you guys. Just remember on the top right corner, I believe that this is it. You can access the worksheet and then follow along with John so that it's not just him talking at you. Of course, you can join us later, but you actually remember one of these. And when your worksheet is done, we will email you a PDF. So you have it for always. You can print it, you can have it. It's yours to refer to later on. Let's get started.
Awesome. In case you guys are, I'm going to just cut to the chase right now. I do have something to sell you, but not today, not tomorrow, not the next day, not the day. So this is all training. I have something to sell you only if you need it. So there's nothing up my sleeves. Literally, I'm not wearing sleeves, but this is a really cool system that we've worked years to develop, so much so that we took our flagship product off the market to install the system inside of it because we really wanted to make it easy. But I'm going to literally tell you everything you need to know about the system so you can use it no matter what you do. That's what you're going to get for joining us over now. I can't do it in a day, but I can do it over 10 days. Now, the concept is inbox branding, which is really maximizing email profits and engagement through what we call the Epic email system. Epic is an acronym. I'm going to tell you what that stands for here in a moment. I'm John Benson. In case you don't know who I am, I'm going to give you a really brief rundown. I'm the creator of Email Copy Pro. I am also the creator of the Video Sales Letter, which somebody had to do that, right? Somebody had to bore you to death with those long, hour-long slides and text that do nothing but just my voice all over a lot of them. But they ended up doing about $13–14 billion a year in revenue for marketers. So pretty proud of that. I'm the CEO of Digital Publisher. That is my marketing company. I'm an 8-figure marketer and one of the $3 billion copywriters, meaning the copywriting that I have written or that I have worked with people to help them write has done over $1 billion in revenue. That's a pretty cool little club that we have there. And I'm in fitness marketing, relationship author, and consultant. That's what I do for my fun stuff. That's what I market. So the stuff we're talking about today is how it's being marketed, specifically through email, and even more specifically through inbox branding. But what I'm marketing is also important for you to understand because look at the differences there in those three things: fitness, marketing, and relationships. Those are three completely different fields. I mean, they're somewhat interrelated. Like I can talk all day long about how, I hit the gym this morning knowing that I'm going to be on this hangout, and I just stayed up later, got my work done so I could make sure I hit my gym on time. Those things work together. So I'm a better marketer because I take care of myself physically, and you have better relationships when you take care of yourself physically, but that's just conceptually. Marketing, they're completely different. They really are. I mean, fitness and internet marketing could not be more different in how we approach it. And this strategy works for all three. So that's kind of cool. I'm not just someone who teaches something, I'm someone who does something. Okay, so who is this for? It's for marketers, obviously, emailers and content producers, entrepreneurs. If you are an entrepreneur, if you want to start a business, if you've already started a business, this is going to help you build rapport and it's really going to tighten your customer base. Job hunters, this is interesting, but it's true because these tactics will work if you're wanting to find a job. Now, I'm not talking about necessarily finding a job at the post office. I'm talking about finding a job in the internet marketing industry. Like I want to be a copywriter. I want to work as a social media engagement maven, as BFI does. Local businesses, dentists, chiropractors. You guys need to separate yourself from the pack in a major way. This can help you do it. Anyone sending email to sell or engage. That is the bottom line. So I would imagine every single one of you would say that's you. At least I hope. At least it should be. It should be you. You should be sending email to sell or engage your prospects and customers. Does that make sense? You with us?
I am totally. And actually, I'm sharing, I'm also sharing the screen here, guys. If you want to remember all these things, remember, we have the worksheet right here. Just type in, right, everything that John is saying. So this is also for anyone who sending email. So the last form will be, and for anyone sending email. That's how easy it is. So
yeah. And it's so important that you do this if you really want to take all the knowledge with you. Now, even if we give you these slides, it doesn't matter. If you write something down and you listen, your retention goes through the roof. You'll actually act on it. What I'm asking you to do when we're asking you to write in those forms is called a micro commitment. We're going to talk about micro commitments throughout email as well, because they're very important. So this is the 10-day inbox branding training. Let me give you the overview of what we're doing. Day one is this inbox branding overview. This is the keys to more sales and greater engagement through email. Day two is the start of Epic Email. I guarantee you will not look at email the same way again after the first 5 days of this training. Epic part one stands for engage. That's the E in Epic. This is intriguing your prospects and your customers, by the way. It's intriguing both of them. It's the nature of intrigue. So if you think of this as a romance, as a dating situation, this is the part where you're wanting to intrigue someone. My buddy Ryan Dice is known for saying, hey, you don't just walk up to a girl and go, hey, do you want to get married? Now my dad did, and it worked, okay? But my dad was a rare breed. That's probably not going to work for you. So I don't recommend you doing that. But you don't want to walk up to a potential customer and go, hey, buy my stuff. Probably not a good idea. There has to be some engagement, and how it's done is really cool. Day three is Epic Email part two, the P in Epic, which is promote. Now, we all know that we want to promote something. We want to promote our stuff or other people's stuff, but this is going to cover the secrets of persuasion triggers. Those persuasion triggers need to be embedded in every email you send out. There's 4 categories of persuasion triggers we'll cover, and you need 3 out of 4 in most of your emails. Now, on some emails, like a reminder email, you don't. But on your promotional email, you should bang for 4 out of 4. And chances are very great, unless you're an A-list copywriter, you're not doing that, and that's going to hurt your sales. Day 4 is Epic Email part 3. The I is inspire. Now, I want you to start thinking about content rather than just words you send out to your customer as the number one, in fact, the only reason to send content to anyone at any time is to inspire them to do one of 3 things. To inspire them that they can do something, to inspire them that somebody else is already doing something, and to inspire them to take action. That's it. That is the entire nature of content marketing. So the problem is when you get into a lot of generic content, a lot of blah, blah content, it's not inspirational. And by the way, inspirational doesn't mean Tony Robbins inspirational. It doesn't mean like, come on, you can do it. I mean, that is a form of inspiration. Inspiration can be a simple sentence. I'm going to show you something inside this very slideshow right now that is inspiring, and it's just a meme, okay? I literally just posted the meme to my group, and it was like people were reacting to it because that's inspirational. Inspiration can come in many formats. We're going to talk about that, but now you can see why it's so important when you're writing copy to send out to people that, well, A, that you either have a tool that can write the copy for you, have a system that can do it for you, or B, you'd become a really good copywriter. This is important if you want to really build this up high. So day 5 is the 4th part, and that is consumption, consume. Customers who do buy more. Just remember that motto. Who do? Well, do what? Do anything. Consumption of your product or service is probably the least understood and certainly the least utilized form of email. When you get a sale that's used to say, hey, thanks a lot, let us know if you have any concerns. See ya. Okay, there's an entire series that you can send out that will encourage not only that your customer to follow through, but you're going to actually be selling them on the idea they just bought over and over and over and over again with all the tricks that we talked about through inspiration as well. Consumption is just a higher form of inspiration, but you're also getting them to do something else. If they do little bitty things like go into this email and do this 5-minute email today and you win, you get a little checklist, that builds momentum. And momentum, if you write down any notes off the side, this is not on the worksheet, so a lot of things I will cover won't be on the worksheet because I do this live, right? But momentum is the secret word. If I had a bat cave, if I had a secret society, If I was the Illuminati, if I was, it's probably a little dark, but if I was like, I'll go with Batman, you know, may he rest in peace. If I was Batman, the secret password would be momentum. Momentum is the absolute gold standard for entrepreneurs to have, maintain, achieve, which is why I'm so huge on fitness. I'm so huge on nutrition. I'm so huge on things that keep my body in momentum, because without my body momentum, my brain isn't in momentum. When that goes, everything goes. Momentum just leaches into everything you do. And once you stall, and I know you know what I'm talking about, if you stall, you stall. I mean, it's like trying to move the world with a lever that's 4 inches long. That's not going to work. But as the old saying goes, give me a lever long enough, large enough, and I can move the world. That is momentum. Okay, that is the nature of consumption emails. Day 6, we're going to get into an Email Copy Pro demo. That's the first day you're going to get to see this 2.0 version of Email Copy Pro and see the Epic system work. But we're going to do more than that. We're going to actually create an engagement email with you. So you'll see exactly how to do it. Day 7, we're going to create a promotional email with you. Day 8, we're going to create an inspiring content email with you. Day 9, we're going to create a consumption email with you. And then finally on day 10, we're going to take your top 10 questions that we get over the next 10 days, and we're going to answer them one at a time, bringing you on camera if you want to come on camera, on audio if you want to come on audio, or just talk to you like I'm talking to you now if you don't. That is our 10-day outline. I think it's pretty exciting. Tons of stuff to go over. And get this, at the end of day 5, there's going to be 5 winners of Email Copy Pro. We're going to give away 5 memberships of our gold level membership inside Email Copy Pro. Now, that right there is over $1,000 just for the first year. We're going to give away 5 of those. You thought, how do they win?
So this is actually super exciting, guys, because first of all, you have no idea what Email Copy Pro is. But for people like us who have been using it from version 1, there's a new version now. This will take away all the headaches, everything that John was talking about right now, persuasion triggers and consumption and how to write stuff and how to, you know, inspire people. All that stuff is basically done for you inside Email Copy Pro. And so for me, it was awesome. It takes away years of writing and trying to figure out what to send. And he's so generous, going to give 5 of these away. So how do you win? Super easy. I'm going to share my screen again for a second, and you guys can see. So right here, you see our top 5 players. These are the top 5 winners for day 1. If you want to get above it, it's not that hard. All you have to do is really, this is the biggest one. This one will give you 300 points. So when you click on win, I'm going to open that in again. These are all the ways that you can win points. And see this one? That's the biggest one. So when you're sharing and you have your link right here and it's already the text, it's already filled, share. And when you join us every day, just for being here, just for logging in, just for interacting, you're getting points. So you're getting points for every comment, for watching videos, for sharing. And it's not limited. You can come back after we're done with the live training and still do the same thing again. If you really want to understand what's happening right here, you can listen to John explaining how to win the game below. So there's an extra video for you. But it's super, super simple. Just for joining us, you're getting 100 points. For sharing your own unique contents list, you get 300 points. And we had people already sharing like 18, 20 times. And that's why you're seeing these huge, huge numbers right here. So super easy. Just comment, share, and you can see John, like people say, nice. It's been a long time, John. I don't know if you know this guy. But people are having fun just watching you and listening to you.
I literally had to stop sharing my screen so I could see. I wanted to see the comments and everything. But just one thing I want to ask of you guys. We set this game up because it's a lot of fun, and all I ask is the same thing I asked, and you guys were so amazingly generous. Hundreds of you did this. Thank you very much. Or no, I think actually 50. I think about hundreds did it before. We got like 50, and then I had to stop because we were going to start doing this promotion. But like you guys reviewed my new podcast, which I really do appreciate. And I just said, hey, just do me a favor and don't leave like a nice and cool, and not that sometimes those aren't valid comments, because sometimes they really are. But please leave what you really want to say. And be honest. I just asking people for just brutal honesty too. We really want to hear from you. So the more you comment, and the more you comment in ways that can impact other people, the more it impacts you. Yes, the points are the same, but you know, we're going to love you more. What's that? We're going to love you more.
But not only that.
That was my magical fingers. That was not my impersonation of our president.
But wait, John. So how often does people get in to speak with you face to face like that about their businesses? Like, hey, solve my email problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, this is I love doing this. So I'm going to tell you a story. Then I'm going to get back to the teaching because we got to dive into it. We started Email Copy Pro back in March, so this is not like it's not like a new product. And I started it with we had 500 members come in, and I stopped and I said, hey, let's make it even better after all this feedback. And the deal was originally, I'm going to give you guys, just because you came in with us, I'm going to coach with you once a week in a small group setting. And there may be some weeks I have to miss it because I travel and things, but 80% of the time I'll be there. And people were like, wow, because I charge, not trying to brag or anything, but I charge a lot of money, like thousands of dollars a month to get on a call with me, right? And I'm doing this for these customers, and it was so much fun. I said, well, I'm just going to keep doing it. So I actually love doing this. It's fun for me, and so I love the interaction. So you guys will get to do that too if you become clients of mine. That's good. We're going to keep that going because it just became this like every Thursday kind of party we have. It's like where people get together and we solve questions and solve problems and answer questions and just kind of chat and get people motivated to keep going. So just telling that as a little side story here. This is not just a marketing gimmick. This is not like a thing to do like, oh, let's do this as a new way of marketing something. This is a fun game, and Yafat is brilliant at it, and that's all cool and everything. But the nature of it is to get to know you, and for you to get to know me. The cool thing about this format is, man, you can't hide much. I have nothing to hide. So I've been around for 14 years because I have nothing to hide. It's like people Google me and they're like, yeah, you got this great reputation. I'm not saying I've never made a mistake or anything, but I'm not one of those guys that's going to go away tomorrow. I've been around a long time, and I want to instill that confidence in you. It's the same confidence my dad instilled in me, who I miss terribly. I miss my father terribly, but he instilled this sense of like just showing up and being honorable and doing the right thing. And yeah, you're going to mess up, you're going to screw up it, but make right your mistakes and do something and build something for real. So I'm blue collar by nature. I don't live blue collar anymore, but it's in my blood. My Texan blood is most certainly blue, and it's silver and blue, baby. If you get down to the Cowboys, don't get me started. But blue collar work ethic, man, it pays off. And I've taken that work ethic and I've put it into a system so that you don't have to work as hard as I did to figure this stuff out. So that's really what we want to share with you. So let's dive into the training. If you're cool with this, we're ready to go.
Sounds good. Awesome. So as you guys, I heard that there was some audio in and out, but we should be good for the past 10 minutes. So hopefully you guys are following along. Let us know in the comments how that goes. So
can you let me know if you can see the screen okay?
Yes, you're good. Awesome.
Can you see my video too?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, cool. Wow. Okay. Hi. Okay, awesome. Well, I should stop picking my nose then because I didn't know it was on camera. Okay, so we got the winners down. Let's go. Day one. Let's get into it. Okay. What is your goal? Your goal for creating your inbox brand? Well, there's a goal behind the goal. Well, your goal is obviously to create an inbox brand, and we're going to define exactly what that is. But what is the overarching goal? And I wrote an email last night that got an insane amount of response. And it was because I listened, and it's because I'm following my own advice. I coined this phrase, unpredictably reliable, which sounds, it's supposed to sound contradictory. It's supposed to sound like those two words don't go together. But I'm going to show you exactly how to do that using one of my personal heroes, Mr. Conor McGregor. If you're not a UFC fan, I'm sorry, but I grew up in martial arts, and so I grew up around the birth of the UFC. I've been a MMA guy for a long time, and I love Conor for many, many reasons. The number one reason I like Conor McGregor is the man has zero fear. The guy has one major brand in my mind. When I think Conor McGregor, I think bold, brash, ballsy, fill in the whatever you want to call it, courage, those things leap to my mind. That is his emotional brand to me. So if I get an email or a tweet from Conor McGregor, I almost don't have to read it. I know it's going to be bold. It's going to be brash. So I went in and made this meme yesterday, I think it was yesterday. And this is a quote The top one is a quote from Conor. He's about to fight the #1 defensive boxer in history, arguably, in Floyd Mayweather, one of the best boxers in history, like him or not. And he's not a boxer, and he's going to go in there. And his literal words were, "I'm going to quadruple my net worth in half a fight." Now, I want you to notice that half a fight. You don't have to be a fighting fan to like this. Half a fight. You're about to fight the #1 guy in the world, who's, granted, he's retired for 2 years, but still legend in the sport. And he's calling it half a fight. It's half a fight for him because he doesn't have to worry about getting kicked in the head. He doesn't have to worry about getting taken to the ground. He doesn't have to worry about getting literally beat up, which is what the UFC is all about. UFC, if you watch mixed martial arts, those guys aren't faking it. And boxing isn't faking it too. My father was a boxer. This is how I got into this. Boxing is a brutal sport. It's not as brutal as mixed martial arts. And that's what he's joking about that. But this is what now that's what I call marketing. A man who 4 years ago was fighting for pennies, who only people who were following UFC knew who he was, fighting for pennies, in the same place 4 years later held a press conference where there was 15,000 people. A press conference, not a fight, a press conference in 4 years. Let me tell you, that man knows something about marketing, and I'll tell you exactly what it is. He is unpredictably reliable. He is reliable as clockwork. The president of the UFC goes on and on about this. He goes, "There's one guy I know that when I call him up, he will fight anyone." Now, people say they'll do it, but there's one guy that will actually do it, and that's Conor McGregor, and that's true. So he is reliable, but he's reliably wild. He's reliably bombastic. He's reliably completely ballsy. I mean, like a clock. And in that reliability, he is completely unpredictable. You don't know how he's going to show up as ballsy, brash, brave, whatever. You don't know how. You have no idea. Like, what the hell is this guy going to do next? And now, that is a wild version of what I'm calling an inbox brand. That's just a brand, okay? What I'm saying is that your emails have that same potential. That same potential. That when someone sees your name, they're going to attach an emotional and rational, logical brand to who you are. And over time, we can build that brand to become unpredictably reliable. And I'm going to go into the psychology of why it is so important that you are both unpredictable and reliable at the same time in 2 different ways. I'm going to tell you about this here in a moment. First of all, let's define inbox branding. This is the experience your prospect has when seeing your emails. That's really all it is. It's an experience. When you go into Starbucks, or if you're a CrossFitter, now I'm not a CrossFitter, but CrossFit is almost like a religion to people. Starbucks, when it first came out, was like a church to people. It still is for some people. That's because it's an experience. CrossFit is an experience. It's more than just a workout. It's more than just a coffee. There's tons of coffee shops. There's far better coffee shops than Starbucks, right? But people love it for the experience of it. You go there, you can hang out, you can work. It's an experiential thing. The same with CrossFit. I want your emails to become an experience for your users, for your prospects, for your customers. When they see your email, they go, "Oh, something is going to happen. I'm not sure what it is, but I know how I'm going to feel. I don't know what he or she is going to deliver, but I know how I'm going to feel." Does that make sense? That is inbox branding. And this experience is created using emotional and logical responses. And that is used in this, the way you do it is use this EPIC system. You're just going to remember the word EPIC. You're going to hear that a lot from me over the coming years. Trust me, EPIC is the word for me for many reasons. But this particular, the EPIC email system, just so happened to spell EPIC. How cool was that? But EPIC is going to change the way that you think about this. It will help you build this inbox brand automatically.
So pause for a second, John. Guys, I wonder if you have anyone that you can think about right now that you're getting emails from and you have some kind of an emotional response. Like, is there someone that you see in their name and the subject line go like, "Ooh, I want to open that email. I want to read that email," or not another, not more from this guy right before you unsubscribe. Right. So is there anyone that you kind of feel like is doing email branding right? And the reason why I'm asking is because we haven't found someone that actually fits the profile of what John is teaching. There were a few examples I was like, "Hey, this guy is doing it." He's like, "No, he's not. This guy, no, he's not." So how about you guys? Like, do you have anyone that kind of fits the description of what John is describing right now?
Yeah, leave that in the comments, and love to have you come on after we're done. And now the closest guy that I got to was Frank Kern, and I would say Gary Vaynerchuk, but you didn't follow Gary, so Gary most certainly has got inbox branding nailed. Gary's one of my heroes. I have no problem saying who my marketing heroes is. Gary's certainly one of them, and Gary is. If you put Gary's head on my body, you'd end up with the Conor McGregor marketing. I'm teasing Gary, but no, Gary is like he is the Conor McGregor of marketing. He really is. He's bold. He's brash. He's throwing F-bombs around. You cannot be bored around Gary Vaynerchuk. You just can't possibly be bored. So he's got a brand, but you don't really know how he's going to come across and experience it. But we can take this, and I want to make this very clear. I'm going to show you 4 examples that we've created, and one of them is sweet. This does not need to be like, oh, I'm going to be like, that's not where I'm going, guys. Now, I'm taking my personality, which I'm going to ask you to do in this exercise we've got coming up, to take your personality, to take your heart, your soul, your mind, everything inside of you, and say, I'm going to write this down. What's one word that describes that? We're going to go through this exercise and know that we can't limit you to one word, but it's an exercise to get you to think through this. And then we're going to branch off, and you'll see what we're doing. And once we get through this, every email you write, you'll have this little chart on your desk. Every sales letter you write, every post you write, how am I fitting into this mold? And you can break the mold, but have a mold to break first, okay? Now, the keys to building a solid inbox brand, day 1, okay? Becoming unpredictably reliable. We're going to cover that. Excuse me. Day 2, what I call list cycling, looping your customers and prospects with a nice little typo at the end of that prospect, but that's okay. I was in a hurry. Day 3, the words and phrases called persuasion triggers. Well, those are important. Those are that's the magic glue that holds all this together, really. Day 4 is one of my favorite topics, the dating C's. Curiosity, connection, and commitment. Those are the 3 things that you need inside inspirational content. Day 5 is what I call the Lombardi leverage. Yes, Vince Lombardi was a legendary football coach. If you don't know that, you're going to coach your customers to consume more and more and more, okay? Day 6 through 10, we're going to give you examples and walk you through how to write absolutely killer email copy, okay? So we're going to get started here with solving these serious email challenges. Number 1, emails going unopened. Number 2, email still suffering. And number 3, your prospect experiences white noise from the onslaught of inbox non-branding. It's like I said, 170 emails a day. You delete 160 of them. There is a one that is called white noise. Those are the 3 problems that this is going to help you solve. Now, I don't know about you, but I want to make more money with email selling really good products and services. Does that sound like a rational, ethical goal?
Love it, especially if you show me how to do it on autopilot. I know you will.
Yeah, most certainly. But more than that, I'm going to go one step further. I want to do all of that while making the world a better place. So that's me. That's where I would. I bet you money that what I just said is not too far off from what you want to do. I don't think anyone out there is sitting there going, I want to sell more products and services, but I kind of want to go on a 3-state killing spree. I don't think you're probably watching my hang-a-thon if that's you. I just kind of want to just screw everyone over. That's probably not who you are either. You probably want to do something and actually make an impact on other people. So these are the tools that we can use to do this. These are also the tools that scummy people can use to sell bullshit products to people that don't work. I can't do anything about that. I can't do anything about the fact that the tools that I teach can be used like a weapon. And I've used the analogy quite a bit about having a firearm. Whether you're pro-gun control or anti-gun control, whatever your stance is, it doesn't matter. The point is a firearm can be used as defensive weapon, or it can be used to kill someone in cold-blooded rage. The tool is not the issue. So I'm giving you the tools. Please use them responsibly. Cool? We all good? Okay, so a couple of benefits, then we're going to get into the really juicy teaching part. You're going to stand out in your prospect's inbox without having to resort to these subject line tricks, like putting RE colon in front of your subject lines, like that people think they're still in a conversation with you. That works once. Once a month, that will work maybe, okay? Using just the first name of your prospect. That's a great one. That one gets tons of opens once. Can you imagine sending that email out twice in the same week? I mean,
that's when you hit the unsubscribe button and forget about that person.
Exactly. That's where the conversation stops.
Yeah.
Benefit number 2, you can make far more sales. And no one wants this. I realize that no one on this call is a capitalist at all. You all hate money. No one needs money anymore. We live in Star Trek world, you know, where no one needs money. But until Gene Roddenberry's vision comes true, which, hey, I watched SpaceX launch last night. I was so excited. I was crying. It's awesome. It's wonderful. But we're a little ways away from not having any money in the world. So until then, I think I want to help you make far more sales. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think everybody here is like super excited to see that.
We're good with that. Finally, this is what the part I was talking about. You're going to build raving fans. Anyone that you help to the point of saying, man, you helped me do X, thank you, is a raving fan. So those are the 3 benefits of having a powerful inbox brand. Okay, let's talk about it. How do you do it? First of all, day 1 is becoming unpredictably reliable. Okay, what does that mean? Okay, you create your brand based on what I call your justified emotional response. Okay, think of it as JER, J-E-R. You don't have to think of all these acronyms. It's a justified emotional response. Well, what do I mean by that? Okay, well, it's pretty cool. Emotions govern most people's buying decisions. Now, we don't like to admit this, especially men, guys. You know, I'm an alpha male, and we don't like to admit that we get emotional. Well, I do. I have no problems with it, but some guys just don't. You know, they're stoic, man. They're like strong, silent type. Guess what? Everything that you've ever bought in your life is governed by an emotion. Now, you may not be aware of that emotion, but guys like me are. Guys like me who write copy know how to push those emotional triggers in men and in women. Absolutely. They govern most, not all, but most of your buying decisions. So understand that. And you are programmed literally in your DNA from birth to crave emotional consistency, especially if you didn't have it. Now, I'm not going to go down a deep rabbit hole here, which I could because I love psychology. It was my minor in college. I really get into it. I've read tons, probably enough to get a PhD in it. But the bottom line is when you go through any sort of trauma, especially as a child, you crave emotional consistency more and more. You often attract relationships, ironically, that are not emotionally consistent because that's what you're comfortable with on that dark level that you don't want to be at. But internally, underneath it all, with what you're reading, with what you're consuming, you're looking for things that are more consistent emotionally. We all want emotional consistency. We don't want to feel love one day and hate the next. That's not what we're wired to do. We're programmed, we would rather feel neutral than feel up and down. And we've all been through those up-down relationships, haven't we? Have you been through that? You know, the one that's like, it's a roller coaster ride. Well, those usually don't end well, right? That's because underneath all of that fun, we're craving that consistency. Now consistency is not boredom. And this is where I'm going with this. Okay. Emotional consistency, but here's where it gets fun. Justification of why you bought something is done with your prefrontal cortex, logical part of your brain. Okay. Left hemisphere, prefrontal cortex, the logical part of your brain says, oh, I bought that car because we're a family now and we have a child on the way and we needed that brand new Lexus SUV with the super hot, cool seats and rims. You see how we do that? It's like, yeah, we needed that. Well, you did. So you're justifying your emotional response to like, like what's the emotional response to buy a nice car? It could be everything from a little greed. It could be a little envy. It could be a little fun. All the emotions are good. There's no judgment here, right? All these emotions govern buying decision. You justify them using your prefrontal cortex. Literally, your brain is giving itself permission to buy something. I know it's crazy, but if you guys have ever looked up and ever studied what's called the split brain phenomenon, you will know of what I speak is not nutty at all. Your brain is really freaking weird. And it is literally talking to itself, okay? It is crazy. So you are justifying your emotional decisions to buy something by your prefrontal cortex. And this is true for women too. So again, men have the reputation of not being emotional. Women have the reputation of being too emotional. I don't buy any of that. I think people are all over the map. Ladies, I guarantee you, if you're listening to me, you know what I'm talking about. You know that you can be very rational, and you're probably like me, you can be pretty irrational at times too. But when you're rational, you want to be respected for that. And you're making decisions that are somewhat emotional, and you're justifying them just as guys do. You're doing it with your rational mind. But here's where it gets tricky. You're programmed by that same programming, only this is much more recent. This is much more recent programming. This is 21st century, 175 emails per day, digital society, want it now, memes, fast, boom. Our society is moving so fast. That programming is secretly programming you to literally create logical inconsistency. Inconsistency in your brain. So what that looks like is this. I want a feeling that feels substantial and solid, but I want it to come in all sorts of different forms. I don't want to be bored. So when you say I don't want to be bored, believe it or not, boredom is not an emotional response, it's a logical response. I don't know if you guys have you seen Westworld, the series Westworld, but they talk about this in one of the series about boredom, and they dive into it a little bit, but it was really quite intriguing. Boredom is much less of emotion than it is a logical decision. It's a logical reaction. To avoid boredom, we want to vary the logical responses, but keep the emotion consistent. Now, this works in relationships too, by the way. This works in work relationships, personal relationships, but we're only focused right now on business, on getting more email sales and engagement. So the way that this looks is you're going to come at your prospect, and you're going to, over time, you're going to build a solid emotional response. When someone sees your name, just your name, not even your subject line, and that's why you don't want to change your from name. That's one of the worst mistakes you can make when building an inbox brand. Marketers use that as a gimmick. It's not a good one at all. So every time you see someone's name, you see Yafat Cohen, John Benson, there's going to be an emotional signal firing off in your brain. Now, you're aware of it. Your customers aren't aware of it, but that's going to happen. So let's say that you want that emotion to be strong. Like when they see me, they're going, oh, if they need someone strong, they're going to click on that message. If they need strength, okay, they're going to click on the message. If every one of your messages was like, wow, you need to be strong and I'm strong, isn't that great? Strong. How often would you read the emails, right? See, that's the boredom that we're talking about. But you've rationally determined that that's very boring. You're not into that. But if one email is talking about like, hey, I want to show you this really cool example of strength and how strength can apply to you. This other email is like, let me tell you about one of my weakest moments. Wait. All of a sudden, the logical brain goes, whoa, I got my disc scratched. That's a pattern interrupt, right? And let me tell you how it turned into the strongest moment of my life. Oh, wow, we're back to that emotional response again. So again, you can approach it from so many different angles, which is exactly the Conor McGregor effect that I showed you. Many different ways of going about stuff to get the same response of bold, brash, etc. So the question is, how do you do this? It sounds really intricate and psychologically babble and all that kind of stuff. It's actually pretty simple, okay? So logical inconsistency, first of all, must comply with a positive emotional experience. In other words, what I just talked about, a pleasant surprise, a creative twist. It can't go off the chart. So if someone thinks of you, if your prospecting customer, when they think of Jane Doe, they go, oh, Jane is caring. Man, I love reading Jane's emails because, man, she just cares. She just cares. So her emotional response is one of caring, okay? If you come across in an email, and of course, Jane would never send this, and her email said, I don't care about you at all. And the email said, I really don't care if you live or die or stop being my customer or not. That would be completely inconsistent, right? It would be like, you would literally think someone hijacked Jane, like an alien hijacked Jane's body and took it over, like, Dawn of the Dead or whatever. I don't think Dawn of the Dead was that, but whatever the alien movie was, they take over somebody's body. That's so bizarre, right? But that's what marketers are doing on a much less obvious way. When they are trying to build a brand and they're going, hey, here's this new gadget over here. It's really awesome. It will help you, build your social media following. Hey, here's this new copywriting trick over here, and it's going to help you become a better copywriter. So those are all pretty consistent. But then all of a sudden, if you go off the range and do something completely out of left field, and it's inconsistent, it's not a pleasant surprise, it changes the emotional response, that's when you're going to get an unsubscribe. And believe you me, folks, people don't even know why they're unsubscribing. They'll justify the unsubscription. Remember, you make decisions emotionally, you justify logically. They'll justify it by saying, oh, he sends too many emails. Oh, she's getting rid. But that's not what it is. Because you can see in the same inbox, and we've seen this, by the way, studies have shown this. This is not like stuff I'm making up, where they'll get emails from one company 3 times a day, and they'll delete an email that they get twice a week. Oh, they send too much. Well, that's not the reason why they deleted it, is it? That's their justification. Their emotional response is the reason they deleted it. So we're going to build you an emotionally strong, powerful inbox brand that is logically inconsistent, meaning it's full of surprises. That's all that means. It's full of surprises. Your brain will go, huh, that's an interesting way of her showing her caring. She's doing this. Or, hey, I never thought about caring like that. Oh, that's really cool. But it still gets that feeling of, in this case, caring across. Maybe it's authoritative. Maybe it's authoritative, if I can say it. Maybe it is, I am the guru, or maybe it is, I am inspirational. It could be anything that you yourself desire to come across as within your email copy. Whatever it is, I'm going to really push you over 10 days to do this. Make sure it's who you really are on the inside. Heart, soul, mind, whole thing. Pull it all out, okay? Pull all of that out, and you're going to answer these questions with that in mind. Who do you want to be in this world? Who do you want to present yourself to the world out there that is literally starved because they're being fed too much? We're talking about a digital world that is dying from being overfed. Consider it digital obesity, if you will. You're getting so much junk food that you're dying. People literally can die by overeating because they don't get enough nutrients. They're not getting enough nutrients. They're just getting too much calories, right? Too many calories. So that's pretty much what our digital world looks like. So let's figure out exactly and laser target so that you can feed, if you will, your customer and prospect the way they deserve to be fed. Now, just remember that your inbox brand carries with it an emotional and logical fingerprint. And that is what creates that justified emotional response. So your goal here in this exercise we're about to do is to have only one overarching, overriding emotional response that you want to elicit from your prospects and customers. I am not saying that you are a one-dimensional emotional person. I'm not saying that at all. We're going to do an exercise to where you're going to find out what the most dominant emotion that you want your user to experience is going to be. Like when I know what the emotion is when someone sees John Benson, I know what I want you to feel. Now, before you say, wait, you don't know how they're going to feel, you're right. This is not an exact science. All we can do is use what we know from copywriting, through neuro-linguistic programming, through all the stuff that I teach, to pretty much give a good rational guess, okay? People will have different emotional responses, but if you poll them, like if you did a cloud poll, you'll see one word that's sticking out. In fact, I'm going to encourage you to do this as the last exercise today, is to create a poll. Use SurveyMonkey, use another polling service, and get a cloud data. Say, what's the one word that comes to your mind when you think about me? When you think about my emails, what's the one word that comes to your mind? And if you might be thinking, I am bold, and everyone says fun. Okay, well, guess what? Now you know what your emotional response is. Your emotional response is fun. How do you justify that emotional response? Well, every one of your emails should have something to do with fun at different angles. You're coming at it from different ways. So let me show you what this looks like inside of a diagram. Now, might be hard to see. You can tell me if that's hard to see. If it is, I'm going to take you out of this and show it to you bigger on another screen. So let me see.
It's fine for me.
Okay. So
guys, if you don't see anything, just, if it's hard to see, put a message below, put a comment, and we'll increase that.
Yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'll just err on the side of caution here, and I'm going to pop over to this. Now I guarantee you can see this. These are sample JER, justified emotional response diagrams, okay? So up here, if you want to be inspirational, that's the emotional response. I want to, boom. When somebody sees Tony Robbins in the from line inside of an email, you can almost guarantee inspiration is going to come across, right? Right? But look at the justifications, the logical responses. In other words, how do you know he's being inspirational? How can you justify that? He's fun. He's charismatic. He's caring. He's giving. He's an expert. Now, these are just, you're going to do 5 of these, okay? You're going to do 5 justifications that define what inspirational can mean. But I want you to notice that fun, charismatic, giving, caring, and expert are 5 completely different things. Well, relatively different things. Fun and expert, 2 ridiculously different things. But they can both be based in inspiration. Now, what wouldn't be on that list might be something like scary, or arrogant. Okay? Arrogant would be on Conor McGregor's list, not on Tony Robbins' list. See? Now, if he came across as arrogant inside of an email and went through a chain of emails, he would get a lot of unsubscribes because everyone thinks of Tony Robbins, rightfully so, as inspirational. Okay. So I'm going to give you 4 examples and then we're going to do your own. Okay.
So, John,
yeah.
do you know what's interesting about Tony Robbins?
Sure.
He's so I'm on one of his lists apparently, and I got an email from his assistant that it's kind of like, hey, we want to help you. Why don't you tell us what your problem is? And what was interesting about that is totally not the feeling that I got from that email. I did not feel like he was caring. I didn't feel like it was inspirational. Because I was like, they don't know who I am. This is just a random mass email from his assistant. Right? So he just like messed up this entire emotional sense for me because I was like, okay, now they're just trying to, build a better list.
But the reason he messed it up is because you have a preconceived notion that he is inspirational. Your emotional response to Tony is inspirational. But that existed before you ever got the email. That his inbox brand is existing before he got it. Now they might have messed it up by going off that target. In other words, they sent an email out that was less than helpful or less than inspirational or whatever. You're never going to be perfect, folks. The goal here is not to be perfect at all. The goal here is to get a framework that you're going to work within. Giving you a framework, and even if you get 50% of this down, you're going to blow up your email. If you get 50% of it down, you don't have to be perfect. Perfection does not exist, okay? But Yofat's example is a great example of someone breaking a pre-established emotional response that they might not even know that they had. Now, I think Tony is smart enough of a guy to go, I'm pretty sure I come across as inspirational. I'm pretty sure I got that one down, right?
Yeah.
You know what? If somebody's emailing for him and they're not tapped into that and they send out a generic sounding email that's just not quite there, yeah, it can make you go for that unsubscribe button. And imagine someone that's super famous like Tony versus someone that's not, maybe like you or myself, that we send an email out and we need to be even more on our game than that, right? So these need to fit inside the parameters. Now, let me just parenthetically say something here. That does not mean that you're going to start an email and go, today we're going to have fun. Here's fun. Here's a fun way to do stuff. It's a feeling. It's a tone. It's justification. In other words, you can read an email that is literally just Tony talking about, I went to the park the other day and I saw this guy and this funny thing happened, and it just made me realize, wow, life is precious. In other words, he didn't tell a joke or anything. He just said this funny thing happened. So that was fun. Going to a park is fun. Now, he could literally say, I went to an amusement park. And all of a sudden, you don't even have to say anything else. I went to an amusement park, and I'm making this up off the top of my head. I went to an amusement park the other day, and as I was walking in, a girl that was working at the counter looked completely bored, or completely excited, rather, with her job. And I just had to ask her, I go, wow, I'm just curious, why are you so excited? Are you because this is probably not your dream job. She goes, no, it is my dream job. He goes, really? This is your dream job? She goes, yeah, every job I do is my dream job. Now I'm taking a story that actually happened in real life. I'm just applying it to Tony Robbins. So just think about if you took your job right now and you turned every job into your dream job, because she goes, my goal is to learn, meet, and grow as much as I can in this job, because I know that in the future I'm going to go to somewhere else. But for right now, this is my dream job. Do you think that person got promoted? And the answer to the story is yes, they became the president of the company. That's the actual true story that I'm telling. But I'm just putting it in the context of an amusement park. Now, an amusement park is automatically fun, but that story is very inspiring, isn't it? So that's just one example of how you could do that. You could actually do like, hey, watch me do 20 push-ups while I've got something balancing in my head. Okay, that's crazy, right? He's balancing something, and I say he's doing 20 push-ups, and it's fun. You're laughing, you're like, he's doing 20 push-ups, it falls off or whatever. He goes, hey, I'm just telling you, if I can do 20 push-ups with this on my head, what's stopping you from doing 20 push-ups right now? Let's go. You see how this works? I'm using different ways of approaching inspiration. But once I have this framework right here, these become pretty easy to determine. Okay, let's look at another one. Now, if you don't know who Gary Vaynerchuk is, Gary is one of the wine experts. He gave up his family's business. He's going to inherit a multi-million-dollar standard wine business. And he says, no, I'm going to start selling wine on the internet. And people are like, are you crazy? You inherited this business from your parents. Are you nuts? Well, he ended up turning it into a freaking empire, okay? Because Gary is like that. He's smart. He's brash. I could have used brash. I could have used ballsy. I could use the same thing I did for Conor McGregor. But he is also an authority figure. He is the man when it comes to wine in most people's eyes. He is an authority for this kind of thing. He's also an authority in the marketing world. So look at Gary's credentials. I know he's authority because, wow, he's strong. He's bold. He's scary. Gary can be very scary. He starts getting up there and throwing those New Jersey F-bombs at you. It's pretty scary. Bossy.
Yeah.
The word that we tried to ban for some silly reason. Bossy. He can be very bossy. He can literally go, yeah, here's what you need to do. Stop. Hey, I want you to stop bullshitting yourself. Put your ass down. That's how Gary would talk. Stop it. You're fucking your life up. I want you to stop right now and go right now. Log in. I'm not going to leave you. You're going to log in right now. You're going to buy my product. That's something like Gary would say, right? But he's not like doing it from that's who he is, right? He's bossy. Now, I've never heard him go quite that far, but I've heard other marketers who do pull that off quite that far. Now, he's also systematic. He has just a very you just know like clockwork, man. And his system is based on his authority. So that's another example. Now, here's one that courtesy of our social media maven, one of our other ones, Elizabeth, she said that when she was getting to know me, she now works for our company, that the word helpful she said she wanted her exact quote. I want to turn you into the most helpful son of a bitch on the internet. That was Elizabeth's exact quote, which is pretty Gary Vaynerchuk of her. I got to give her that. And also, I was very honored that that's the way someone that I didn't know thought of me as someone that's helpful. And I do enjoy being helpful. So the words that fit with me: kind, concerned, inquisitive, authoritative. I'm definitely authoritative. I'm an authority in my subject. Instructive. Now, those are just some. I'm obviously instructive. I'm doing it in that mode right now. But bold. I can fit bold in here very easily because I am bold by my very nature. But if I am bold just to be bold, it just turns people off. If I'm bold saying, listen, this is going to help you, and I'm bold inside that context, it fits, you justify it. I could go off and go, I'm going to take you into the gym with me and show you my workout. That has nothing to do with internet marketing. Okay. Forget the fitness marketing, internet marketing. So I'm going to show you why this works with internet marketing. Well, that's completely bold, way out of the top. But you're like, wait, he's going to be helpful some way, right? And somehow or another, I loop that into this one repetition of doing this over and over again is very much like email marketing. You got to keep doing it over and over again. And now all of a sudden you're like, oh wow, that was cool and helpful and kind of bold at the same time. That's an example for myself. And then I'm going to use Connor, brash. Brash is my personal feeling of him. Crazy, unpredictable, inspirational. He is inspirational, game changing. He's also self-destructive. So now think about this. How many people would you voluntarily read that you thought they're self-destructive? Well, guess what? The Kardashians are famous for a reason. They are the walking epitome of self-destruction. Can you think of any group of people more self-destructive on the planet this side of Lindsay Lohan, who also, back in whenever she was famous, built a following being self-destructive? Now, I am not encouraging anyone to be self-destructive, and Conor McGregor is self-destructive in much more of a humorous and much more of a controlled way. But we follow rock stars that are self-destructive in a really bad way. Okay, I'm just giving you the breadth of how we look at things and rationalize why we are attracted to things. So it is now your turn to do this. What I would like you to do is, I believe they have the worksheet in front of them. I want you to help to create your own emotional response and then justify it. In other words, what emotion do you want your prospects to have when they read your name? And then how will you go about justifying that? What are some ways you can approach that are not so predictable? You can go from crazy to inspirational, from inspirational to self-destructive. Okay. But all of this works in brash. It does not work if I'm up here in sweet. Okay. I thought I had sweet up here, but I lied. I had sweet in my first draft of this, but I could do one that's loving. Loving. I want to come across as loving. Well, guess what? Probably self-destructive isn't going to work, right? Game changing. You're pushing the envelope here. Do you see why we're going here? So if you want to be loving and you come across like, hey, I've got a game-changing offer that's going to completely rock your world, and your thought's impression of you emotionally is, I thought she was like really all about love, and she's not thinking this maybe consciously, but subconsciously she's thinking this, and she hits that unsubscribe button because it was not congruent. But if it is congruent, it's going to boom. It's going to create a reaction in her that she's going to want to take action on. Because, and this is the giveaway, guys. Ready? This is the takeaway. Well, there's a lot of them here. Today's a longer lesson for a reason. It'll take us a little bit longer to go into this stuff. The takeaway here is the more you get your customer or prospect to justify their emotional response, and that emotional response is one that they want to have, the more they will click, the more they will buy, and the more they will be raving fans. Period. It is automatic. It is literally, it is almost, it's like a reflex. You don't go to the doctor and then he says, you know, cross your legs or tap you on the ankle or whatever, and you're like forcing that to happen. It's called a reflex for a reason. This is like a buying reflex. When these signals are all matched up and they're congruent, and at the end of this, Tony says, I have something that you're going to be interested in, doesn't mean everyone's going to buy it. What it means is more people than would not buy it, we're going to buy it. So in other words, your conversion rate would go from 1% to 4% because you're more congruent in your message. This is all about congruency, but it's also about being unpredictably congruent. So that's the twist. I hear a lot of people saying, oh, you got to be congruent in your message. Well, congruency in your message is boring over time. You need to change it up. And in order to do that, I want you to do this exercise. So if I believe that we have that in a form that they can do the exercise just as is. Is that correct?
Kind of. So we decided to give them this worksheet, right? Like to allow them to download that tomorrow when they join us tomorrow. But they do have on their form everything that you just talked about. So we don't have a screenshot of that, but we can definitely share it. Okay, great. So tomorrow, then the homework for tonight is pretty simple. And I can't wait to hear. If you guys want to, if you guys do it now and want to come on and share it. So actually, guys, while you're on the page right here, right now, I'm going to share my screen and you can join us and we can go through this exercise together face to face. There you go. So all you need to do is refresh the page and that will make this link active. And when you click on it, it will open the Hangout window. You'll see this is gray. So before you check the mark here, mute yourself right here, make it red, then check this box and then okay, I got it, and you're in, and you'll be joining us in the Hangout Speaking with John face-to-face so that we can go through this for you right now live. And remember, anyone who's joining us today gets this awesome Modality Marketing little prize. So, yeah, let's go. Okay, cool. And there's always a little delay. So, so why don't we do a little exercise with me? Because I'm here. Yeah. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I keep forgetting we have that 30-second delay, so people are like, yeah, come on. So, yeah. I know. So I think with what you just shared right now, it's like it's super important, not just because of how you want to be perceived, but you said, hey, ask your audience how they perceive you. Right. Because you might, right? And so it's super interesting, especially when you guys are flipping like me, right? You're moving from one area to another. I mean, how was it for you, John? You started with fitness. And then you got into writing, and then you had to give a different persona to people who already knew you. So how do people do that? Well, you carry the persona throughout. Like you don't, unless you're creating a character, which is a completely different story. If you're creating a character, yeah, different animal. But for me, I was consistent throughout. When I was writing in relationships at first, I was a nom de plume. I was, but I still myself. I just wasn't under my real name. The book I've got coming out at the end of the year is under my real name. So I keep my personality relatively consistent throughout this whole thing. In the fitness world, I'm actually a little softer than I am in the internet marketing world. And that's simply because the psychology of weight loss is one that there, in my opinion, believe you me, there are people that don't do this and they do really well. I can think of a couple guys off the top of my head, mainly Beachbody, but they don't approach weight loss softly. They approach it with like, oh, come on, this is gonna be the hardest thing you've ever done. You know, they're kind of in your face about it. Well, I approach it from a little softer of an angle, because rather than being like, you know, you go kick your ass in the gym kind of thing, and it's more like I understand the pain of emotion of being, because I used to be obese, so I get it. I understand the pain of this, and so if I can understand it as a man, I want to bring that emotional response to people. But primarily through my fitness emails, they're mostly driven. They're just tons of like they're authoritative and helpful. So I come across mostly in just a softer version of helpful.
And in the internet marketing world, it's still helpful is really the best way to explain it. But other people, that's the one that Elizabeth chose. When I ask people, other people, they tend to say things like guru or expert and things like that. So that's the feeling they get, is that they're in somebody that has studied this and knows what they're talking about, that isn't bullshitting them. I don't know if there's a good word for that, but I like the word helpful, because that's genuinely what I want to be. So I just increased I let a little bit of my more bold personality come out when I'm dealing with internet marketing, because it's not as emotionally sensitive of a topic.
So this is cool, because you guys can decide what you want to be, and then use just a flow chart that John just created in order to go and build, your own. What did you call it? You call it JER?
Justified emotional response. Yeah. What is the emotional response you want your prospect to have? That's really the goal. Is what's the one word that best describes you, that you want your customer to have when they see you? When I say customer, it could be your prospect, it can be your customer, whoever's on your list, right? It's like when they see the name Bob Doe, whatever your name is, what emotion do you want to elicit? That's really the question. And then we're going to talk about, well, how can you go about doing that in unique ways to where they don't get bored? In other words, okay, oh, he's the love guy. Okay, now, like I'm trying to think of, like, there's a guy known as the love guy. Like, he's literally known as the love guy. And so his emails, I'm going to get bored if every email is going to be the same thing. He has to approach love in different ways. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So I'm known. A lot of people think of me as like the email guy. Now, well, I'm more than that, obviously, but the emotional response isn't the email guy. The emotional response is, I want somebody that's helpful. I want somebody that is an expert, whatever the case may be. So let's get some good folks on. I want to hear what you thought. We can come back to you afterwards. That's good. We got. So
Cheryl,
don't be shy. Remember, last time people were shy. They didn't come on to the last day. It's like, come on, turn the camera on.
I'm not shy at all.
All right. Hey, how are you?
Never better. What about you?
Good, Cheryl. Good to see you.
Okay. So the question, I'm getting an echo in there somewhere.
Yeah, John, I'll mute you when she's speaking, and then unmute yourself.
Okay.
Okay. So the word that I would like people to associate with me when they get emails from me is the same sense that I get when I post things in my social profiles. Okay. I want people to feel intellectually safe.
Okay, I'm muting and unmuting here. So intellectually safe. That's right. So safety is really it.
Right. That when, like going back to Jay, trusted advisor, so that when they read the stuff that I put out there, I mean, in my emails, they know that it's solid. They know that I'm not trying to take them down a primrose path. I mean, the flowers are pretty, but I want them to feel, like the stuff they're going to get from me is solid, that they can trust me to give them the very best insights, advice, case studies, and so that when I say, hey, this thing by John Benson's looking really good. Why don't you, step on over there? And if you've got time on Wednesday at 4:30 Eastern time, why don't you, give John a visit? You see, that's that kind of a thing, so that when I do that, they know that I'm not just saying, hey, go there because I might make a commission. You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
Right. So safety, this is an intriguing conversation for many levels, because making someone feel safe is very similar to, for me, is making someone feel understood. Mm-hmm. So when people know me for saying your goal as a marketer is to make your prospect feel completely understood. Mm-hmm. You can just interchange, in your case, understood for safe.
Okay.
Especially if you're going to a female audience, if you have a larger female audience, safety, and we write about this in the relationship space a lot, it's just beyond vital. I mean, it's like, it's programmed, again, deep down in the DNA. This is not like, this is so vital. I mean, you get underneath that level and you want safety. So the question now becomes, how can you approach, and and you can literally use the word safe in so many different ways. Like in you can use different uses of the term safe. Like you could go to the thesaurus literally and look up how many ways can you say safe that you could embed inside your emails. So inside Email Copy Pro, email comes out, you can literally change a word saying, I want to feel a little bit more safe, because we obviously can't know what you're going to want to feel. You could add these different words inside, inside the copy as an example, or inside any email that you write. But the conception of wanting to feel safe is incredibly important, because when someone sees a referral, like if I go online and I'm reading, like just before we came on here, I was researching potassium iodine, a boring subject, right?
Oh, so was I.
How weird. There you go. But so I'm looking at this stuff and I'm going, okay, so I know the sites, and which sites do I click on? Well, I'm clicking on the sites either that I know, but why am I clicking on the sites that I know? Because I go, oh, I know that they're going to be, I'm not using the word safe, but I'm using trusted.
Yeah.
I know they're not giving a BS review of it. I know that I can trust these guys are actually going to give a legitimate review of it. So legitimacy is another form of safety. And so what I challenge you to do during this exercise is, how many other things are justifications for feeling safe? Like, that sounds legit. That sounds like a good offer. So a good offer is safe. Like, in other words, hey, that's a good deal. A good deal feels safe, right? Like, I got a good deal on my car. It feels less safe than, oh, I'm paying too much for my car, right? So safety being the opposite as fear, what can you do to negate fear? And how many ways can you go around it? And again, I'm going to keep giving this example out to you guys as you come on. One way to negate fear is to boldly talk about fear. So you would think that wouldn't be the case, but let's say I had an audience of all women and I'm writing about relationships. And the last thing I want to do is say, I'm going to take them down some scary path. But if I had a subject line that said, the scariest night of my life, they're going to open it just out of sheer intrigue, like, because their relationship to me is, he is safe or she is safe. And inside saying, this is how I turned the scariest night of my life into something that became one of the most peaceful moments that I come back to. This is one of the most peaceful moments of my meditation. It actually taught me the value of safety. So you could go, there's many ways you can go about going through. I'm giving just an example, of course, that you could go about that. Also in the business world, like, this product, this is a scary product, I avoid it at all costs. Well, that's like the opposite of feeling safe, right? But it is feeling safe, because it's like, wow, she told me to avoid this product. And let's say that there is a product that you don't believe in. Yeah, you're protecting them. So again, it's how are you going to justify that emotional branding? That's what I want you to figure out.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Was that helpful?
Yes.
Okay. So we're just doing this big framework today. We're going to get into all the specifics starting tomorrow. Like how does this all work in email? Because basically all I'm wanting you to do, everyone listening, all I'm wanting you to do is to have one word in your mind as you're going through this system, and as you're creating what we're calling your primary solution, the myths that you're creating. These should all reflect that one word. That one word should be echoing over and over and over again. Now, it doesn't mean that's, again, we're talking about justifying it through many, many different ways. But if it doesn't reflect that one word, you don't have a brand. So let that brand be.
What about motherly? See, I always love that phrase. My clients know that when they get around me, they're mother loved, and so I mean, I didn't want to use that word right off the bat, but I equate that with that sense of safety, that when somebody comes into my care or comes into my ecosystem, that they feel safe and they feel mother loved. So I'll let you go on to somebody else, but thank you.
You're very welcome. This is very helpful. Thank you.
And we have Bill here. So Bill, I'm going to unmute you.
No, this can't be Bill. This can't be.
It is, John. How are you?
Hey, Bill. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
Yeah, and I know Bill. Back.
For me, I came up with for my company, which we sell natural personal care products to the health-oriented consumer. I came up with sincere. And my five words were kind, honest, transparent, concerned, and empathetic.
It's awesome. Sincerity is a huge one. I mean, especially in that field, as you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how many people that I just meet in public, or that I met at fitness conferences or whatever, and they mention the word sincerity, or they mention, you know, feeling trust. That's just, that cannot be overstated, right?
That's right.
So now the trick becomes like, what ways can you evoke sincerity, kind of like where it scratches the disc a little bit, right? To where and by the way, you don't have to always do this. You can just go email, then all of a sudden something a little bit out of the blue, to where where it's logically inconsistent, in other words, right? It's like, wow, this is like, it's like, if you use, for example, the inverse of what you're talking about, like the most insincere thing I've ever done. Okay. So if you can imagine the open rate that you would get after you've built a brand of a sincerity, the most insincere thing I've ever done. Now, you don't say inside your emails, hey, I'm Bill Ziske, I'm known as the sincere guy. You know, you don't need to say that. It's just the words that you're using, the words that the email copy pro is using, or you're using, is, you know, building that brand of sincerity, the words that you're using inside your product. But then all of a sudden you come out and say the most insincere thing I've ever done, or something shocking like that. Okay, that's a kind of a shocking opener. And then you say, you know, I'm not, the thing I pride myself the most on is being sincere. And I was recalling the most insincere thing I ever did back when I was a kid. I did blank, and you tell the story, right?
That's right. That's actually very good. Yeah.
Yeah. But see, it's like, oh my gosh. Oh, so what does that do? You were just totally sincere about being insincere.
Right. Intrigued. Right. They open up. Absolutely.
Yeah, so you can use this flip technique, which I kind of jumped ahead. We're talking about like the cycle that we're talking about tomorrow. But yeah, this flip technique is very cool to use. In other words, find the thing that you are and then flip it backwards. And then, and don't make up a story. Tell a story that's legitimate. But what I just probably inspired you to think about something that you would have never thought about.
That's right.
Yeah,
absolutely. Without a doubt.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's really cool.
Good. Well, I look forward to the training. We'll see you soon.
All right, brother. Good to see you.
Take care.
All right. Cool, man. That was a pleasant surprise. Back from my Dallas days.
That's right.
Awesome, man.
This is beautiful, because now we can get amazing people joining us and meeting you face to face, even though you are on a totally different continent now, right?
That's right.
Continent, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Cool.
Yeah. So we have Christine. Christine, is that right? Let me unmute you.
Hello.
Christine.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
So my question revolves around using images within your email. Mm-hmm. And is it a good thing? Is there a limit to how many images within my email? How do I create consistency? Is it that important?
You know, I talk a little bit about inbox branding from a position of an actual company brand. Like if you're trying to present yourself as an entity like Nike or whatever, that obviously you're going to have images inside your email because you're selling shoes, right? That's kind of a given. If you're not doing that, so I have to know a little bit more about what you do for your company and what your business is. If it's like just your standard internet marketer, I prefer to keep the images to a bare minimum. And then when I use the images, I always make them clickable. I always make them something that would be entertaining and not just taking up space. So the image has an actual function to it.
That makes a lot of sense. And so I do social media for a living. And so email is kind of my, I guess, backup tool, aside from social media. But those images, I guess, that would click through to social media might be important.
Yeah, definitely. So especially since you're probably you're doing social media, you're probably at some point wanting to get people off of, say, Twitter or Facebook, whatever, and into a list that you can control.
Correct.
Right. So that's where I'm saying, like, email still comes back down as one of the foundations. In fact, I didn't give the stat, but it's 73% of marketers call it the foundation of their core. The core of their business is still email, and that's of 2016. So that's after the advent of all the social media we know, of text message marketing, it's still email. So with that in mind, if you're talking about, let's say, there's a new way to do a viral Facebook post. Now I'm making this up because I don't know anything about that. So I've got people that do. There's a new viral thing on Facebook, and all of a sudden you want to send that out in an email format. Taking a screen capture of that is like, hey, I've got a blog post written about this, and here's a screen capture of it, and making the screen capture like either like it looks like you have to click on it, like it's a video, and then when you click on it, it opens the video. We do that.
Sure.
Or it's like, you cut it off purposely and say, if you want to see the rest of this image, click here. You give them a reason to click on that image. You can even play games with it. Like, I blurred this out. If you can click here, if you can guess what it is, leave a blog post, guess what it is, you win 10% off blank. I mean, there's all sorts of different ways you can play with images that make them much more interactive, as opposed to, I'm just taking up digital space. Because most people, images can literally be distracting from copywriting. Some of the most powerful copywriting that we do has very little images on the page. Like entire Agora, Agora is a huge internet marketing company, and they have entire sales letters with not one image on them except for the image of the person writing it. So it's just, you don't want to distract them from the message, especially if you're doing a promotion. So if you're doing a promotion, I'd avoid an image pretty much altogether, unless it's like a timer or it's like a special bonus or something like that.
Okay. And so on that note, then, if you are doing a promotion and you're avoiding images, would you also avoid changing the font or adding pretty colors or anything then?
Oh yeah. So I'll give you the 2-second rundown on what I think of templates. We have one for Email Copy Pro, and I borrowed it from my buddy Todd Brown, and it's his is literally his picture in a circle and text. There you go. That's it. All I did was I have my Email Copy Pro logo, a gray background, and text, and that is it. There's nothing else on the page. So I have an HTML looking kind of feel to it, but it's just really still gets all the power of just having text. And when I do use an image, like I used that Conor McGregor image in the email I sent last night, people click on it. People, it's kind of addictive, they're not used to seeing it. So they're like, again, it's coming out of the logically inconsistent mode.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome. Thanks a lot for coming on.
So what you guys just saw was an amazing thing, because if you are worried about joining us on camera, you just saw that Christy had joined us, voice, no camera, and that is also an option, and you can still pick John's brain without bravery. But it'll be much better if we can see you eye to eye, right? White to white.
Yeah, so, much better. Yeah. We got lots of people on this thing, so come on. We got hundreds.
What's that?
We have lots of people on this thing. You can do it. You can make it.
Do it. Yeah. But if that is the one thing that's stopping you, don't let that stop you. You just saw how you can overcome that. And then last person, because we are getting like way over time. Rick, how are you, Rick? You've been playing the game.
Hi.
Hey, nice meeting you.
Hey, Rick.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, no, I'm actually just getting started with Email Copy Pro. I've been playing with it since you started, but I'm just getting my business going. It's
cool.
It's kind of a sorting out process to get started, and so it's I'm still working on my first series of emails. So I didn't actually come on here with a question. I just came on here to experiment.
Oh no, you're welcome to come on here and just hang out. I think that's why they call it the hangout, man. Right. So we'll get more and more. But one thing that you'll find when the 2.0 gets released on Friday is everything is going to change. For the better. We systematized everything under those Epic under that EPIC formula. So now you can go in and literally just select. You can click a few buttons and the sequences will come up for you, and we'll only pull in the data that you need. So instead of having to fill out your entire niche, just the data that you need for that email will be pulled up. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it's gonna help you a lot. So you get that upgrade for free.
No, it's a great exercise, even going through the whole thing, because you learn so much just going through the process. It's really good.
Rick, I'll be honest with you. If I could preach that gospel to every single person, that is the truth. There's a reason why we built it that way, is because I wanted people to go through the niche, and we're still going to let them do that if they really want to do a super deep dive into an 8-hour marketing experience to teach you more about your business than you probably ever wanted to know. Then we're still allowing them to do that, but we're also giving them okay, I just need to get an email out in the next 20 minutes, and I don't want to learn all of this. We're doing both. Basically.
Right. No, I guess my biggest struggle to begin with was that the niche that I'm in is so broad that it's really hard to narrow it down.
What is the niche?
Astrology.
Okay, well, that would be the niche, I would think, right? Astrology.
Oh, it is. But astrology is applicable to so many different things. It can be astrology with health. It can be astrology with relationships. It can be astrology with money and career. It can be. There's so many different possibilities.
Yeah. So what I would do, and this is great. We're skipping ahead, but that's cool because you came on, so I'm gonna answer this one. What I would do inside your niche, and by the way, folks, what he's talking about inside niche, you'll see it come Friday. The niche is this your overarching business, what it is, like health, wellness, fitness, astrology. It could be any of that, marketing. But inside astrology, what you would do inside your primary goals and what people really want to achieve. What are their complaints? What are their goals? Like you've got all those different primary goals. That's where you go into the details. Like you want to be healthier. You want to have more prosperity. You want to, and that would be all under that astrology niche.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But then when you're actually targeting one of those niches, then you want to be able to target the person's primary fear in that niche, and so it makes it almost as if you've got to create a separate email sequence for each one of those things. Like, for instance, if you're dealing with, say, using astrology for somebody in their relationship versus using astrology and just, using it as a self-awareness tool and things like that. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to target every one of those in a single email sequence. Sure.
That would be true of just about. It's hard to target inside anything with something that broad. So another approach that you could do is you could segment your list. So you could send out like you could health, wealth, relationships, finance. Those are the whatever the big three. Health, wealth, and relationships are the big three, right? Personal development might be a fourth one. So you could say, which of these 4 areas do you need the most help with right away? Click on it, and it just segments them into a list. So now you have a health astrology list, you have a wealth astrology list, and then I would literally go into create your niche, get it done for health, and then hit the duplicate button, and then go in and change just the stuff and make it about prosperity, and then duplicate that. Then so you would have 4 different niches, and then you could send out the emails in that way. That's how I would do that. Basically,
start with an overall astrology niche, and then just ask people what they want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then you can customize it after that. So you might have a general astrology niche, then you would have one for health, one for wealth, one for those kind of things. So right. And then if you want to send out a wealth email, you would only send it out to the niche that was dealing with wealth. So the list rather that's dealing with it. So
excellent,
awesome, man.
Thanks.
Well, nice to meet you. Thanks for coming on.
So tomorrow we are actually going to dive into specific emails, and the first one is Epic Engage. Yeah. So let's talk just in 1 minute what we have tomorrow, and same place, same time. Yeah. Invite your friends, and then let's dive into it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the very first thing in Epic, you can remember Epic is the 4 stages of the email process that we use is called Epic. It stands for engage, promote, inspire, consume. So the very first one is engage. So we're going to talk about how do you evoke engagement, and what does engagement mean? So you can engage a new list, like an opt-in list, like we had social media folks come on, and they need to engage the list right away. So you need to say hello. It's a welcome email. That's the simple part. But engaging someone to really build their curiosity, that's a whole different skill set. So we're going to build that with curiosity, and then we're going to talk about re-engagement. So if you have a list right now and you don't have a lot of response from that list, I'm going to give you the best re-engagement email that we've ever used. And I'm just going to give it to you tomorrow so you can use it. It's not my own. It's somebody else's that I have permission to use. And I love it. So you can use it so you can re-engage them. And then once they're re-engaged, then you can talk about engagement and moving into a promotional series. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. And then this is what you do right before you promote something, is you have to establish engagement. Just like, think of it, you can think of this, we can use the lover analogy. You want to kiss her first. Probably most of the time you want to start with kissing. So this is the engagement part of that. It's not as fun as kissing, but it can make you more money. So
yeah, don't kiss right away. Build that trust first, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Get permission. Get permission.
I kind of skipped right to kissing, didn't I? There we go. Yeah, I was assuming I was married at the time. I was like, I'm gonna skip it. Yeah.
So get permission, then kiss,
Yeah, exactly.
then marry.
By
then
all
the
means, by all means, get permission. Yes.
So awesome, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We will send you the PDF that John was working on today. If you are done with your worksheet, click send print or send to your email. You'll get a copy of that. And we'll see you tomorrow, same place, same time. And remember, 5 people are going to get what Rick was just talking about.
That's right. That's right.
5
people get it free. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks a lot for joining us. Appreciate it.